You know, they said that human beings would never fly, yet we now own the skies, yes? They said it was impossible to sail around the world with limited thinking, with fearful thinking. We did it. We own the seas. They said many diseases were a death sentence. Well, tell that to the survivors who are sitting here in this room today. They said we couldn't break the sound barrier. They said we couldn't run a 4-minute mile or have light without fire. And we said, hold my beer. They said you can't fly to the moon. You cannot connect with 100 people all at the same time in 100 different places. And we said, watch us. Watch us through the power of the mind and the heart and the spirit. They said we could not conceive of artificial hearts, microchips, satellite communication, personal computers, or surgery on an unborn fetus. All of it is commonplace today. Somebody thought it. Somebody gave their emotion to it and put those two together and wrapped it in the realm and the spirit of possibility, and now it's all commonplace. Every single advancement of humankind in our evolutionary process was once labeled impossible. Everything that all the luxuries that we get to experience were labeled as impossible at one point by the laws of physics. Can't do it. But by the laws that we use here, the laws of spirit, the laws of God, the infinite power. You know, the science says that we're only using about 2% of our brain. So what we do here is we cultivate the other 98%. And we put a feeling around it, a passion and a compassion around it, and then wrap it in God, and suddenly the impossible becomes the possible by the laws of mind, the laws of spirit of God, the laws of metaphysics. We prove impossibility as wrong. Who knew this? Who absolutely knew this? The great alchemist, Jesus the Christ. A man who did not believe in the impossible. He is a rock and a foundation of Unity North and our processes of creation, not as a savior, but as a way shower to show us that as I have done it, so you can do it as well. This is what he had to say as an alchemist and a physicist. Let's read it together from Matthew 19. With God, all things are possible. Not some things, not the things that are easy, not the things that I think I can do. No, all things are possible when I wrap my mind and my heart in God. From Mark chapter 9 together, anything is possible if a person believes. Anything and everything is possible when we put our mind and our heart and our spirit to the test and are willing to put our body behind the hard work. And finally, in Matthew chapter 7, let's read it together. Seek and ye shall find, knock and the door will be opened, and all things will be added unto you. By universal laws put into our hand, the kingdom of heaven of universal laws, we have the ability to manifest and create anything that we can envision. It has been put into our mind as a seed, not by an accident, but as a possibility. It says, prove me, show me, demonstrate me. When we entertain a thought, and a vision and a possibility in mind, there is an immediate and sufficient spiritual response from the universe. God responds by whatever name you want to give it. God is moving as we implement the laws. God as life, as love, and as light is a grand conspiracy. I'm not much of a conspiracy guy, but there is a conspiracy. The universe is conspiring for your success. I want you to feel that and know that the universe is conspiring for your success, for your magnificence, for your holiness, because God is the very engine of creation itself. And it wants that expression at its fullest for you because it's expressing at the point of view. There's only one of us in the room. Say that with me. There's only one of us in the room, and that presence is what we call God. God is a laboratory for greatness, fulfillment, and success. And our job, our only job really, with all of the machinations of what we talk about, is this: to meet God at the level of our mind, to envision it, to welcome it, to put our heart to it and our spirit beyond the illusion of the finite world. But don't take my word for it. Let's go to the great mystic Patanjali and let's see what he had to say. Can you read that okay up there? Let's read it together. When you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds. Your mind transcends limitation. Your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. And you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you've ever dreamed yourself to be. I asked you to bring an obstacle, a dream, and a vision into your heart. Close your eyes, and I want you to see it. Feel it, taste it, know it, live with it, be with it, and let me read those words again from Patanjali. That's the very presence of God speaking to you today. When you are inspired by some great purpose, by some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds. Your mind transcends limitation. Your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. And you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be. I want you to be right in the middle of that situation and see rays of light going out from that moment, from that experience or that relationship. Rays of light. And I want you to follow one of those rays of light and breathe into it. Just follow it to as far as you can see. Just keep walking. Just keep moving. Using your mind to focus on that which is at the end of the ray, not in the middle of the situation. Now, what does it feel like out there? What does it sound like? What are the thoughts that you're having out there? It's a reality. God is calling us to the end of the light, not the safe place in the middle of the experience. Open your eyes. You have never been and never will be defined by any experience on earth, by any limitation of your parents, your teachers, your churches, or anybody, not the limited scope and view of your own human ego. Our job as spiritual seekers is to go to the edge of the light and to live on the edge of the light. And the only way we do that is accessing the tool of our mind in partnership with the tool of our heart, wrapped in spirit. So repeat after me, mind over matter. Mind over limitation. Mind over obstacle. Mind over history. Mind over wounding. Mind over finite beliefs. Mind over condition. Somebody told you you couldn't at one point in your life, or you can't do that. It's not possible. And we say, not hold my beer. Hold my Bible, maybe. I don't know. Hold my stinking thinking. Set it aside for a minute. Let me show you. How many people have been able to, at some point in your life, turn back and say, I knew I could do it, even when they said I couldn't? Show of hands. Look around. We are a community of dreamers. We are a community of visionaries who are implementing the spiritual laws to show the people that said it was impossible that it is possible. Albert Einstein put it this way. Everything is energy. Let's read it together. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. What's he basically saying? Don't live in the vibration of where you are, where the obstacles. Follow the light and get to the possibility at the end of light, and match your vibration to that possibility and that truth. But anybody ever try to live your life with just mind alone? Ever try to think yourself into the success? It doesn't work so well. Just using your head, I know people that have sucked the life out of religion by trying to think themselves into a relationship with the infinite possibilities. We think and we think and we think and we think, and we never get the partner. The mind has a partner that must be part of the equation. How many people have ever heard somebody at Unity North say, let's drop down into our heart? You see, we talk about mindfulness, an incredibly important tool and practice, but mindfulness alone does not work. We must become heartful as well. There must be a partner of the emotion, the divine feminine, in partnership with the divine masculine, and then the wheels of creation begin to spin and turn, yes? Without it, let me tell you, I tried to live there, and nothing got done. No, all the impossibles were still impossible because I could not think alone. I had to get the divine essence of my feminine to put an emotion behind it, the fuel into the thought, the passion into the thought and the idea. And what the feeling nature does is it creates the environment. The environment here, the more love I give, the more love there is to receive. But the more important environment is the environment within me. Am I living in a heart-centered life? Or am I just constantly here? What happens? Anybody ever live only here? We become very judgmental, don't we? We become perfectionists. I am a Virgo. I know it. I come by it naturally. April's shaking her head yes, too. This, without this, is a quick road to suffering and to failure and not success. And it doesn't matter how much you think about it, if you don't put a feeling behind it, nothing happens. And so the environment out here is important, but the environment right here, the marriage of those two. Now, what is the bridge that unites them? What is the bridge that unites those two? Spirit.